105.5.
Welcome. It's Saturday morning. When you hear that beat, you know what time it is. Saturday, January 6th, 2024. Happy New Year to one and all. Welcome back to Real Deal Sports Show, coming live through your speakers through WLGZ HD2, The Beat, 105.5 out of Rochester, New York, but throughout the airways via YouTube, Instagram, the X, Twitter, the X former Twitter, whatever they're calling that. Check us out on all the social media platforms. Check us out at your leisure. Got some good interviews up there, good shows from last year, including last week's show with J.D.Hill. And with J.D.Hill, keep in mind, remember, his book is called Go Long. He has a book out called Go Long. Check the book out. Interesting. If you like what he was talking about, the flavor he was talking about from drug addict to redemption and the whole 9 yards, check out his book called Go Long. We salute the Buffalo 10 each week. The Buffalo 10, you'll never be forgotten. And also, in transitioning into from the new year, earlier this week, Reverend Wilfred Moss, minister at Memorial AME Zion Church. But many of you, thousands of you here in Rochester, New York, may know him from the public market and his family, the Moss family, Thomas Moss, and the whole, about 10 of them, 10 Moss kids, all working there at the public market with their fruit and their vegetable stands. You want some potatoes, onions, the whole 9 yards. The Moss family, stop on through and give condolences if you're out at the public market today on the passing of a great leader and a great man here in the Rochester, New York area, Reverend Wilfred Moss. You will never be forgotten. Rest in power, sir. And I had the Fanatic. Good morning, Fanatic.
What's up? Bright and early, beautiful day here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Sunshiny, no frost or anything this morning. So we're excited to be here. Excited to talk sports of all sorts. But man, rad man. I know J-GILLZ gonna be joining us, backspin on the ones and twos. Man, I know we live from the Rock Pawnbroker Studio, and I know hey, make sure that Rock Pawnbroker Studio is insulated because it was nothing but flames this week, man. We're gonna talk sports of all sorts. But that Katt Williams, rad man.
Yeah.
Katt Williams, he was unleashed. I love the episode name. He let everybody have it. And my man had receipts for everybody, man. My funny things, some sad things when he talked about Kanye and like, hey, man, if you see somebody who's mentally disturbed or anything, and people just laughing at him with all his wildness, man, to me, when I look at it, it is people just like a train wreck, and that's why people love watching Kanye. But the funniest thing, man, when he talk about Cedric the Entertainer, but I love the Jonathan Majors, man, where he was getting that Jonathan Majors early, talking about, hey, the Katt Williams love all women, white women, but he was nervous about him. Being as a black man, he ain't want to be running down the street like Jonathan Majors had this guy, and then he really pulls behind the curtain. People, I've heard this in some of the circles I run in, Illuminati, really, it's a few people who run everything. And really, they're like, hey, we're going to give you this role, but you got to do this, this, and this, look like this, dress like this, be in a dress. We'll give you this. Or when he was talking about Jonathan Majors, hey, we're going to give you this Marvel, but don't ever get out of line. And shoot, he got out of line, potentially, as from Katt, he got out of line a little bit, let him know what was going on, and they snatched it all away just like that. Katt Williams, shout out to Shay Sharp, Shannon Sharp, man, 14.5 million views in just a day and a half, man. It was crazy. I didn't check the numbers today, but I know it's truly viral.
Yeah, unbelievable, 14 million. I was like, wow. And I caught myself watching it as I got off the plane, coming back to the Rock from the Deep South Thursday evening. And I watched it. I was like, wow. And he's telling my life period because this is during my lifetime of guys. The Kings of Comedy that came out in 1999 but aired in 2000. I didn't know that was Steve Harvey's tour. I didn't know it was actually Steve Harvey on tour, and that's why he closed. Because I always wondered, I said, damn, how come Bernie Mac is funnier than all those cats? How come Bernie Mac isn't closing the show? And you had Bernie Mac on like second after D.L. Hewley, and then Cedric the Entertainer, and then Steve Harvey, because man, Bernie Mac he tore it up, man. He stole the show from those cats. But I didn't realize until Katt Williams said it that was Steve Harvey's tour. You know, so he had to close the show. It was on during his tour, and I thought when he said Cedric Entertainer stole, it's just like anything in the NFL, anything in life or business. People see something successful, they're going to copy it. He said Cedric Entertainer used to come and check out his stand-up show. Next thing you know, Cedric is using his jokes on his his thing, and he said, well, no, some on Netflix, his shows aren't that successful because you got to write, and just like anything else in the music industry, Prince was a writer. All the people who, God bless you, Fanatic, got the people who are the writers. Those are the most successful people in any industry. Katt Williams is a writer. He wrote it. And then Ice Cube came on yesterday evening and responded to everything because he was like, man, he was hearing about it. He said, man, we made that film 30 years ago. I got to talk about a film that was 30 years ago. He said Katt Williams was right. He chose Katt Williams over the Rickey Smiley cat. And said that, hey, Katt Williams, each morning, he would come to the set with new material, say, hey, man, we could add this, that. And he said, man, he was just trying to steal the show, man. He kept adding more and more. He said that character was so small, script-wise to begin with, and Katt Williams, because of his genius and being an excellent comedic writer, he wrote a lot of stuff in there that added to what they have already written for that character. So he said it's 100% true what he said, that Rickey Smiley first was auditioned for that, but almost 200 comedians were auditioned for it, and Katt Williams won out, and he was able to. The only thing I didn't like was Katt Williams didn't talk about his stuff because he was in the paper a lot during that same time period for drugs and alleged drug and alcohol abuse.
He locked up 30 times. He went to jail and just didn't go to prison.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say, I know it was a long one, 2 hours and 46 minutes. It was long, so you might have forgot Rabbit, but he touched on it. He did. Yeah, but he said he never did hard drugs. Weed was his thing. Weed was really his thing.
Yeah, Katt Williams exposed it all, man. You got to give him his credit. He said he's going to start 2024 about the year of truth. He wasn't lying, no pun intended. Katt Williams went in on the comedians, went in on entertainment. He even went in on a couple things about Shannon Sharp. He said, yeah, he's probably drinking more than me. I said, oh, he got him with that one. It was a good time, man. A great interview with man, oh man. It's a lot more that's going to get exposed. We can touch on TD Jakes, Diddy, all the kings of comedy. Tiffany Haddish, Kevin Hart, all Jonathan Majors, Ludacris, all in 2 hours and 46 minutes. You're gonna make some history.
Yeah, and look at all the people who responded. I mean, half of those cats you named responded yesterday. Said no, it was that everybody was feeling some kind of way or some type of heat because Kevin Hart said that, hey man, the studios just couldn't rely on him. He shows up late. He's not always on time. He's not punctual. And he said those movie studios, he said he could have had those movie roles and things of that nature, but they just didn't want to put money on him because his track record of showing up late, not being on time, and not acting some kind of way, and not being a true professional in that light. That's why Kevin Hart and some of these other comedians were able to garner these movie roles and climb through the comedic roles through the motion pictures. So it sounded Kevin Hart. I thought he was. I said, yeah, because I was thinking the same thing when Katt Williams was talking. I said, man, you were so high after time. How you, man, you want to be in a movie and be there at 5 a.m. on set and all of that. For those major roles, so it's an excellent item. If you haven't caught it, catch the Katt Williams speaking with Shannon Sharp, and Shannon Sharp is really trying to redefining himself from Skip. His days with Skip, he's really coming into getting the who's who in the black community, guys, people we don't hear of or speak of. How many people in the white community you think know who Katt Williams is, guys? Do you know? Is it 5% of the white community know who Katt Williams, who the hell he is, or less?
Yeah, no, yeah, well, yeah. To me, I think overall it probably is 5%. I did take a quick poll in my office here. 1 of 5 person even knew it. I'm not sure that person really knew who Katt Williams was. So we can say 20% based on my polling, but that I think is a whole lot smaller. Katt Williams, he more black famous. He more black, and he's definitely more black famous. But I think almost hopefully now everybody has heard of him with such a great interview. And again, to you, what you said, Rabbit, people have responded, but nobody came right out and said, yo, he's an outright liar. He ain't like, nobody was really coming at him like that. So people just like, well, I see it this way, I see it that way. But nah, he talked about, he got everybody, man. I even was surprised that Chris Tucker, when he talked about Smokey and Friday, and then well, he in the church, man. It was. Hey, if you haven't watched it, check it out. Just like y'all watching us, we appreciate that, man. But man, that was some good stuff. And I love when entertainment and sports kind of cross over, because Shannon Sharp being a former tight end and a Hall of Famer. So beautiful, beautiful information.
Exactly, and Chris Tucker, right? I met him out in Denver during the Denver Broncos game many years ago. My brother happened to know him and introduced me to him at the time. And yeah, he's very religious. I was surprised. I said, "Oh, this." He said, "Yeah, he's very religious." I said, "Oh, okay, very religious cat." So yeah, this guy was on point. He wasn't holding back, and he was just letting it fly and letting it the world according to Katt Williams, and also how things went down. He put it down in a very interesting manner, including that toupee Steve Harvey used to wear. Wow, man, I didn't know that was a toupee, man. Wow, man. I said, wow. I said that, and hanging with Mr. Cooper. Curry, who's one of Katt Williams' guys, they came through here to a sold-out performance when they came through here back in last spring, almost a year ago. And then Steve Harvey and them turn around and do almost the same type of comedy show of a high school principal and things. And I thought that was very interesting. And he didn't invite Curry on. You taking the idea that was successful with Curry, but yet you should have brought the brother on at least for one episode or something to be a guest on, since you guys say, hey, this formula's working right now. So, and that's what people do, and that's what they do in all walks of life. Whatever's successful, people want to copy it and try to copy it to the best of their ability. But they got to do the work. They got to roll up their sleeves, do the work. And then when you do the work, like the Steve Harveys and these other cats have done, I mean, hell, Steve Harvey's been on 10, 12 shows. The only person now, Nate Burleson, is the only person now coming up challenging Steve Harvey. I mean, he's the triple threat now on the On with the Kids, with Nickelodeon, the NFL Today, and then he hosting all kinds of other shows and everything. I mean, this guy is. Oh, and then he's on the CBS Morning News. So you guys copy each other, they hustle, and then, you got to get your hustle on no matter what. No matter what the bottom line is, that's the key, people.
Rab, and I definitely wanted to hit on that, and but I want to shout out the Internet Passport. He said in those videos have surfaced. They even show almost all the clips that the show Shay. They've almost added clips to the existing interview clips to show the truth within it. Folks have added that the account Club Shay has as well. Man, it's crazy. That, as Internet Passport astutely says, there are videos that show proof of what Katt Williams was talking about, mostly about stealing jokes. I like the one where they showed the battle that he talked about that Steve Harvey and Katt Williams had in Detroit. And I know that crowd was rocking. They showed a little video clip where Katt was getting on Steve Harvey. Man, the internet, man, is undefeated. So appreciate you for sharing that Internet Passport. Fans continue to put any comments in. We're gonna make sure to post those and have them join the show. So, but Rad, man, last on my end to touch it up on and close up on that subject. For me, you are absolutely right, man. What I hope all my young people here, or people in general, to be great, you can't just wake up and be great. Katt Williams, not one of his funny stories, but he talked about he went all in. He had his kids with him. I didn't know that Katt Williams had adopted 7 kids, 3 biological, and he adopted 7 kids, so 10 kids in total. But before he had that many kids, him and his kids were literally sleeping in the trailer on the movie grounds. I think it was for Friday. But really the main thing is he went all in. He slept at the studio. He slept, he worked, he ate, drank. All he did was work. That's all he did. So to be great, you got to put in the time. You got to put in the work. You may be talented, but to be great, you really got to put in work. So make sure that doesn't get lost with all the jokes and all the wildness.
That's right, young people. Don't forget that. Let's talk about do the work. Do what needs to be done. Get the work done. And as we transfer into work, we got a big NFL season coming up to a close starting later today and going into and ending Sunday night with the big daddy of them all, the granddaddy of all, the Buffalo Bills versus at Miami against the Miami Dolphins. It's for the division title. It's for playoff positioning. Bills may not even make the playoffs, so it's almost a must-win, depending on what happens earlier today with that Steeler game. Steelers at Baltimore is the first game the Bills fans got to be watching, hoping the Ravens will beat the Steelers and eliminate them, and the Bills will automatically have a spot. So you take a look at what's happening, guys. A lot of injuries on that Dolphin team. J-GILLZ, you got to address the injury. What's going on with your Dolphins, man? Who's your medical provider down there? You need some health care? Oshna, Excellus, MVP, what you need?
Hey, Radman, that's what happens when you're a great team playing hard. You know what I mean? When you're a great team playing hard, things happen. The Bills could attest to this. injuries happen. It's just about the timing in which these injuries happen. Both of our standout linebackers, Jaylene Phillips with the Achilles, now Bradley Chubb with the torn ACL out for the year. Not only does this impact this game, it impacts our whole next season and, of course, the postseason. But when I look at this team I still see guys available. Javon Holland is coming back. We have to adjust the injuries that are, the injuries that not just people leaving, but the people that are coming back right now. The Dolphins have been battle tested all year, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's the defense, offense. But it's looking like a lot of these guys will end up playing. Javon Holland, he's returning in his second game. Jalen Waddle hasn't ruled himself out. Raheem Mostert did get a limited set of practice in. When it comes to those linebackers, like I said, you still got an Andrew Van Ginkel, who I've raved about over the last couple of weeks, as soon as Jaylene Phillips went on with his Achilles injury. But ultimately, it comes down to this, right, man? It comes down to the pride of the game. Coach Mike McDaniel has always had the same message, next man up mentality. And the guys have been tested. This is a team who they play for each other. They play hard for each other. They love on each other. And it's a good, solid group of guys down there. Another thing about this, Xavier Howard, the cornerback for the Miami Dolphins, who you all know, he's out with a toe injury. But then you got a guy like Eli Apple, who was very used to playing the Bills. I had that interview last year of Eli in that locker room after that Cincinnati Bengals win. You know what I mean? So you got him and Jalen Ramsey. I think that's going to be formidable in that secondary, along with Javon Holland. When I look at the defensive line, still very solid, still very strong with Christian Wilkes, with Zach Sealer. And ultimately, it comes down to the coaching. Josh Allen is 10-2 against the Miami Dolphins. It's about pride. The first matchup, they lost about 20 points. They got beat down early on in the season against the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park. And now that it's in Miami, it's all about the pride of the game. So you got a lot of Bills Mafia, obviously, and rightfully so. I mean, they haven't missed the playoffs in the last 5. I believe they won the last 5 AFC East crowns. So the pride should be there, but you have to back it up. As great as the Bills have been on this winning streak, they haven't looked and haven't played at their best and at their peak. I think their best game of the season really came down to that Philadelphia Eagles game. But when we look at over the last couple of weeks, I mean, the Chargers, that was a tough one. The Bill Belichick, this team is prone to still losing, So they have to go out there and beat the Miami Dolphins. This isn't a guarantee, and you definitely don't want to go in there too cocky. It's a must-win game for the Buffalo Bills. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing and the biggest story of this next couple games coming up.
Absolutely. Fanatic, what's your take?
Yeah, to me, I mean, the Bills, Dolphins, this is what we love sports, man. It's a competition. The Bills, to be clear, folks, the Bills can get in even if they lose to the Dolphins. They can still make the playoffs if they lose to the Dolphins. I want to make sure I said it again, folks. Hopefully you heard that. But to me, to win the AFC crown, it comes down to a Sunday night. I know Rabbi and I were talking, and as soon as they were talking about putting out the schedule, I'm like, they got to put the Bills and Dolphins as a Sunday night game. If that's the game for it to be. I know some folks were saying Saturday night. I'm like, nah, Sunday night. So that did come to fruition. And so to me, I think it'll be an interesting game. But I just think the Bills are playing better. It's two teams. It's almost like the stock market. The Bills, I feel like stock is really rising right now. And I feel like the Dolphins is really starting to decrease. Tyreek isn't healthy. It's 18 weeks, man. It's a war of attrition. Definitely just think the Bills will go ahead and take care of business down in Miami, unless South Beach gets you. South Beach is undefeated, man. Hey, Bills better not fly in until late Saturday night or something, man. Don't be out there on South Beach, because I feel like that'd be a perfect getaway to get away from Buffalo to enjoy a little South Beach weather before the game.
Absolutely. I want to shout out congratulations that we did on our social media platforms to Deion Dawkins and James Cook for being first string all Pro Bowlers, the 2 Pro Bowlers for the Buffalo Bills. A lot of fans and a lot of people in Western Europe was saying, why was Josh Allen snubbed? Let me tell you why Josh Allen was snubbed. He gets to the goal line, he gets the ball in for touchdowns. But when Belichick had him on the run last week, and Belichick always seems to have Josh Allen's number for defensively and caging him. This guy on 3rd and 8, he runs the football. He sees somebody tackles him, grabs him by his legs. He's on his way to the ground, and he looks and sees that he's about 2 yards short. He sees he's short of the first down. Instead of just going down to the ground, he stretches his arm out to try to reach the first down mark, which is cool. Yeah, I agree with doing that, Josh. But then before he hits the ground, he laterals the ball backwards to who knows who. The ball is ruled a fumble on the field. It was a mad scramble for the football, and luckily Connor McGovern was able to recover the fumble for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, it's like, what's in your head, Josh? How do you why would you even lateral the ball when your team is winning? You'll go ahead and pump the ball back to the Patriots and let your defense handle the situation. If you lose by the defense, it's not your fault. But you can't do reckless stuff like that on a football field. The Mighty Oba asked the head coach about it on Monday, and the coach kind of smiled and said, yeah, we talked to him about it. Oh, I bet he cussed him out about it in that locker room, man. I said, man, especially when you're not in that locker room, but on Monday when he looked at the film, how can a top quarterback just lateral the ball back to nowhere, nobody, just lateral the ball back like he's playing in the street somewhere. You know, Pop Warner. Man, I don't see kids in Pop Warner doing that, man. I just don't get where Josh ball comes from. If Josh Allen plays within himself, hands the football off, because he didn't even see how to run. They could have ran Cook. They could have ran Latavius Murray a little more. They could have ran Terrell Johnson a little more. I thought just keep running the football. Go do play action. Throw the football when you have to, not when you need to. And the Bills and that formula helped beat the Chiefs. It helped beat the Chargers. If you beat these teams, you're 4-0 now. You're a 4-game winning streak, trying to get your 5th win in a row. And remember, the Bills should have beat the Eagles. The Bills beat the daylights out of the Eagles. They did everything but beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, didn't I tell you the next week? I hope you made a hell of a lot of money with me. I told you take the 49ers. The 49ers blew the Eagles out by 30, and now the Eagles having trouble beating anybody since that Buffalo Bills game. Because the Bills put such a beat down on them, and they had so many injuries coming out of that game. They have not recovered from losing big play Slade, Zach Cunningham. They've lost some serious talent on that defensive team. And that's why it's not that the Eagles are, they fall. No, they're injured, man. They got a lot of injuries, and that's why they're losing. Arizona Cardinals, with their former offensive coordinator, came back into town and beat them last week. That wasn't by accident. Those guys are beat up. The head coach of Arizona Steichen, he knows their offense, and they were able to win the game. It's just that the Eagles are beat up. The Bills got to stick to that formula. If they stick to the formula tomorrow night, in Miami, and they'll win that game tomorrow if they stick to the form. Josh Allen just got to play with him in himself. Remember, Josh Allen is the only quarterback we know of. 15 interceptions, 15 games on the road, 15 interceptions on the road. Who the hell has a stat like that? And still starting in the National Football, or even have a damn job in the National Football League. Come on now, somebody tell me that.
40 touchdowns.
What's
4
that?
seasons in a row, 40 touchdowns. You can't just talk about the bad without talking about the good.
Yes.
10 straight games of rushing and passing touchdown. You got to give him his credit. Now, he's not all bad, Radman. He's not
give Latavius Murray some credit for pushing him, grabbing his behind and pushing his behind forward for 8 or 10 of those touchdowns? Why can't you hand the ball to Latavius Murray and let Murray get 3 or 4 of those TDs, man? Huh?
A lot of those are scrambles. Josh, you got to give him credit, Radman. 40 touchdowns in the last 4 years. No other quarterback in NFL history has those numbers. We have to put some respect on Josh Allen. It ain't all bad.
It's not all bad, but, man, 15 games in a row with an interception in each game, man, that's almost unheard of, man. And so he's at one end of the spectrum, and then he's at the other end. But when he gets under pressure, for him to lateral the ball like that against New England, man, that's not ball security at all, man. That's why Josh Allen is not in the Pro Bowl, Western York Bills fans, because I seen all this online about why did. That's why it's a reason why he's not. He doesn't protect the ball. He's like you said, he set a record with touchdowns, rushing touchdowns. But you look at the whole. You got to look at the whole thing. The same way with these quarterbacks. He doesn't turn the ball over that much at all. Purdy over with the 49ers, a rookie, didn't turn the ball over nowhere near. Nobody turns the ball over every game. I mean, man, this cat intercepts every game. But that's a whole nother story. We're going to go to our. Yeah, go ahead.
Just right, just on that, right? I did get the esteemed pleasure to be sitting with the Radman and watching the game. And man, NFL, if anybody saw where Josh Allen turned around and he tried to stretch the ball out in the middle of the field, my man got knee in the head. He looked concussed and he sat up like the Undertaker, and nobody thought to get my man in the blue tip for the concussion. Man, that was interesting to me. But to me, Josh Allen, you can tell he doesn't seem to really feel the game, because that New England is a horrible team on offense. All he had to do was if you just make sure you turn the ball, you hand the ball off, really be the Patriots of who they used to be. You're gonna play good defense, you run the ball, Don't turn the ball over. Don't allow any big plays. Josh Allen, there's certain games that you don't need to be great. Just manage it. Let the running game do the work. They need to continue that. But I think there are going to be some special plays. I think Josh Allen going to need to put on the cape. He puts on the cape anyway, and he's going to definitely, I think, need about 3 times against Miami to make that special play. And to the point J-GILLZ was making about the touchdowns, Josh Allen does that. I'll tell you, I see it. Lamar, he could have those same amount of touchdowns, but that's why you got no-name cats like Mitchell and Gus Edwards with all these touchdowns, because Lamar is giving it to them cats where Josh Allen make sure he get those touchdowns to the point. He's a huge fantasy football numbers guy. So that should be interesting. In that same game, and I'm going to pass, I know we got Coach Cunningham. Tyreek Hill lost his house. Man, I hope him and his family, blessings to them. We want to send them some love with the house being on fire. So I know we see these guys as our fantasy players and see them on TV, but with the fire, with this house catching on fire, sending best wishes down to South Beach and Tyreek Hill and his wife and kids down there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's real life, and thank goodness. And remember, watch those kids, y'all. Kids playing with a fire with a lighter. Allegedly started that, according to all reports. So watch those kids. Make sure you keep an eye on them and keep those lighters and any flammables away from kids, because kids they're quick. Before you blink of an eye, something could easily happen. So keep an eye. That's not only for him, but for everybody. Watch your children. Make sure that you keep dangerous items away from your kids, for sure. And before our guests coming up next, the guest is sponsored by our award-winning Miriam Rivera Farmers Insurance Agency, Auto, Home, Health, and Life Insurance, 1038 Lyle Avenue or 511 Bean Road, Suite B. Call our All-Pro, Miriam Rivera, 585-360-0094. She saved me and my family a hell of a lot of money through 2023, and she could save you and your family a hell of a lot of money in 2024. Give her a chance to get a free quote. 360-0094, area code 585. If you're outside the listening area, give her a call. Check her out. Challenger Community News, Western New York's largest weekly African-American newspaper, thechallengernews.com. We're back with the Martin Luther King special edition, publishing this Thursday, January 11th. My mom's birthday, Diane Hortense Radney. Happy birthday, Mom. Would have been rest in power. Continued to rest in power, would have been 89 years old this coming Thursday, January 11th. It's also Martin Luther King's birthday celebration edition. So check out the edition, the special edition at most businesses in the community, and also at thechallengernews.com. And now it's time to roll on to our special guest that we have coming into the studio. And here we go. And we have head coach of Monroe High School football team, the All Greater Rochester Coach of the Year, and also the Buffalo Bills named the Class B Coach of the Year throughout the Regional Coach of the Year in Class B football. But we really know they played at an A level all year long. Let's welcome head coach Terrell Cunningham to the show. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Coach.
Yes, Coach Cunningham, thank you for coming on Real Deal Sports Show. And can you tell us about your team, your co-players of the year, Robert Arnold and Kyer Moses? They both were named co-players of the year through the All Greater Rochester. Can you tell us a little about those guys?
Yeah, Kyer Moses, quarterback. He ended up breaking a Section 5 touchdown record for the most touchdown passes in the season with 38. I believe, and then Robert Arnold, I believe, was top 2 in the state with 23 and a half sacks. Both great young men, both seniors. They pretty much did everything we asked them to do. These young men, they work hard. We get after it in practice, and they were able to display on game day, all the work we put in. So I was very proud to coach these 2 young men. They're both seniors. Right now, we're looking at next level opportunities for both of them at the collegiate level, and that's where we at so far.
Yes, indeed. And you had a shutdown corner that half of it. It's amazing. I haven't seen this in all the years I've been covering in football and high school and the college and pro. And looking at the section here, the page is covered with Monroe football players. How were you able to assemble so much talent on one team and keep them, and then the top best secret, keep them together like this?
Honestly, we have a group of young men that, high school football, the season starts in August and then usually goes to about November. If you're lucky, you sneak into like that first week of December, which is, we were 1 week short of that this year. But for us, we don't take that approach. We take a holistic approach, meaning, literally we lost last year, the year before, in a sectional championship game to Batavia, and we were right after it the 2 weeks later. We literally invest 11 months out the year of preparing ourselves for essentially 3.5 months of football. We harp on all the time that, we try to get across to our guys, like, listen, we got 11 months to prepare for 8 regular season games and then the playoff run. Majority of our guys, they train together. They've been working together, most of them since 12, 11 years old. We were just in a position to whereas we have programs and opportunities at Monroe or the Road that allows for student athletes to be just that, and to not only utilize their athletic ability, but to put a lot of that into the classrooms and the classes as well as the coursework to be successful as a student and athlete.
Yes, indeed. I see you have several young. Yeah, one man, Styles McKenzie Baker. Is that a misprint? They said he had only one pass reception allowed. Was that for the entire season?
Yeah, the whole season.
Oh my God!
We gave up one touchdown in the regular season. That one touchdown was the one catch he gave up the entire season. And that's over 12 games. Styles this kid is going to be a 5-year varsity player. He started on varsity as an 8th grader. Ironically, you can hop my fence in my backyard and be at his house. He lives around the corner. Great young man, great scholar athlete. I believe he just got a scholar athlete for one of the news channels just last week. Hard worker. Right now he's doing indoor track. Probably the best technician corner in Section 5, without a doubt. The young man is he's what you look for when you talk about technique and ability as a corner. It's kind of late in the game, but if that young man gets an inch or two, he definitely can play high-level football. But, just as a defense, like I said, we gave up 6 points this year in the regular season. We finished the season only allowing 41 points, and we scored almost 400. Of that, 41, 29 came in the championship game.
Exactly.
So, I'm sorry, in the state semifinals game. So we definitely defensively did a lot of great things, which I've never seen in my 34 years of being around Rochester or even in the state for that matter.
No doubt, Coach. You and me, we're on the wavelength right here, man. And so I want to reach out to you in particular about that Maine Indewell semifinal game at Syracuse Cicero High School. Like you said, man, really beyond that game, you gave up 12 points. Listening audience, I want to make sure y'all hear that Monroe High School gave up 12 points throughout the entire season coming into that Maine Indewell game, and to say they gave them 29 points. So obviously they figured out something. Talk to us, put us behind the curtain. What was going on in that game? Obviously that game was atypical and the anomaly out of all your games played. What was going on in that game?
Man, it's a great program. Going into the game, I believe they've won like 7 state championships over the past maybe 15 years, 20 years. They're always there. They got there this year. They ended up losing to another good team in Rye, but they run that old school double wing type of offense, and it's something that if you aren't used to seeing it consistently, it takes a while to kind of get the hang of it. In this day and age, everything is spread football, shotgun, pistol, 4 receivers on the field, whereas these guys, if I'm not mistaken, they might have completed 1 pass the whole game. It's a lot of illusion and different backfield action and stuff like that. So it took us a little while to they jumped out. They were up 14-0 to start the game. They took a pick 6 to the crib, and then they had a 30-yard drive. We didn't put ourselves in a great position, field position wise. So they ended up scoring, and they were up 14-0 to start the game. That was on like the first maybe 5 minutes. Our boys kind of adjusted. We made some, positional changes, and then we ended up going in the half 18-14. Third quarter, they came out. They made some more adjustments, some check with me stuff at the line of scrimmage, which led to them scoring again. And then we ended up getting a safety, and then we essentially scored. Then, we had a two-point conversion, which probably should have been good, but it was caught, not good. And long story short, we honestly ran out of time. Definitely, like I said, it was a great season. I mean, it was a great program. I look forward to seeing them again over these next few years, though.
Absolutely. Coach, when I look at your staff, you know what I mean? Guys like Greg Hopkins, guys like obviously yourself, what really went into building that staff, and what kind of energy do you guys bring to that team? Because just the culture that you've created has just been impeccable. So what went into that staff that you built?
Highly competitive. So I was on the Monroe staff since 2018, 2019. I was the defensive coordinator. At the time, my offensive coordinator, who was the principal now, who was my high school coach, Mr. Jason Muhammad, he would always say, one day I'm going to end up working for you. And this was going back to high school. He's like, you're going to come back home after college, and I'm going to end up working for you. I'm going to be your OC. So long story short, once COVID hit, there were some transitions in the school, and he essentially went from administrator to principal. So, and this was honestly around the time I was honestly considering, just being a parent, just kind of stepping away from football and just seeing how things were going with my children. So he was like, well, me going into a principal role, I can't be the head coach. So I would need you to become the head coach. So 2020, 2021, they had like that spring season and then pick back up in the fall. So, one of the things that I said when I told him, I'll take the position is, I want to bring in my guys. Greg is a guy who, believe it or not, I've known since my son was maybe 5 years old. I also coach basketball. So at 121 Lincoln, which is CTC, where we practice and stuff down the hall, my big brother, James Reeves, we had our basketball program at the end of the hallway. So I would be at basketball practice and I would drop my son off at CTC with Coach Hopkins. So long story short, over the years, we would just build that football bond. And, it was a situation for me where as a coach and as a professional, sometimes a lot of people get in a situation where they're comfortable and they don't want essentially their workers to challenge or question them. Me personally, I don't believe that you can grow as a person, as a coach, if that's the kind of people you surround yourself with. Our practices and game days were, I'm going to say, extremely interactive on our sideline. We would be up 40, 50 points, but you would see us as coaches positively engaging each other about what we can do better or what it should be. Practices, be honest, practices for us were game-like. To the point where, you have half the staff on one end and the other staff on the other side. And it was so highly competitive because you got a bunch of ex-college athletes, guys who love the game of football, battling it out, putting guys in position to the point where everybody wanted to show what their worth was and how much knowledge in football they have within the context of our scheme. So, I brought on Greg. My first hire was actually my brother, Bruce Blue. Played at Edison. Honestly, for me, he's probably one of the top city players to come out of Rochester from Edison. He played back he was a little before Colson. They had like maybe a year or so crossover when Jason Colson was at Edison, the running back. But in my opinion, Bruce probably the most dominant player I've ever seen in high school as a young kid. So I brought Kim on. He took over my D-line. And then the following year, I brought on Coach Hopkins, Coach Mel, Coach Craig, Coach Will, Baker McKenzie, which is Styles' older brother. I already had Coach Omar, Coach Morrison, Coach Mathis, and Coach Muhammad. And then we just kind of put everything together. And like I said, it was a lot of heated moments.
I believe it.
Like daily.
Strong personalities.
Yeah, man. But for me, again, it was getting people out their comfort zone. And I'm a firm believer, and I tell my son all the time, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I believe that the players they kind of felt that same type of energy and that same type of basic passion. And then, like I said, games were just easy. The games were easy. And we had some highly competitive young men that matched our energy, and that's all you ask for as a coach.
Absolutely. And also, I look at a team like, the dominance that you've displayed over this season is similar to an NFL comparison like the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that's the talk I like to hear. Yep, go ahead.
Well, I see how unified they are, how tough-minded they are. And I've gotten a chance to look inside the locker room and see how they put their faith at the forefront. Does faith play a role at all in your program?
So, we definitely, we always try to, get across to our guys that there's things that's bigger than football. And, faith in whoever it is you believe in is always something that should be at your forefront. Me, I've been a Ravens fan since '99. Let it tell people since Buddy jumped in the limo with Ray Lewis, I've been a Ravens fan. Essentially as a kid, because Ray Lewis is all you heard about. It's like, why is this dude in the news? And then you see the highlights. So it's like, oh, I see why. And growing up being a defensive player, it was like, yo, this is what football is. And one thing, if you know anything about Ray Lewis and the Ravens, that brother was always praising and giving, proper shout outs to the man above. And, I would always joke with my team throughout the year, and all my coaches know what time it is with regard to how I feel about the Ravens. It's like, this is what I'm trying to build.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want us to be in a position to where defensively, dudes remember us for the rest of history, the same way they talk about that 2000 Ravens team. But definitely, having faith. I know for me, every game, if you watch during the national anthem, I'm praying. It's a part of the game. You don't pray to win or lose. It's more so, for everybody to remain healthy, for guys to execute, and, just to go over everybody. It's crazy times, a lot of stuff that's happening in our city and around the world. You just pay for the safety and just, all those types of things.
Absolutely, Coach. And I see everything from what you're saying about the coaches and also uplifting your players. And I see you several of your players talking about college and their future. Zeal Wilson say he plans to become a general surgeon or possibly a neurosurgeon. So you got your young guys reaching for the stars, I see. You got them education. And how's the graduation rate going for the football team?
So this year we will graduate 14 seniors. Nice. I believe 14 seniors. But that might be 13 seniors. And the goal is honestly opportunities. One thing you will always hear from me is, I've never been big on that D1 or bust mentality. I feel like that kind of hurts more young men than helps when they get their goals set so high. I only want to go Division I. I only want to go Division I. And then that may not happen for a bunch of different reasons, and they don't want to go to school at all. I was fortunate enough to be a pretty good high school player. Then I was able to go on to college, end up going Division III and being a 4-year starter and, receiving accolades and first team, all team and all those good things. And just being able to do that and playing at a high level, to me, I know that did more for me than possibly going to take a walk on and go Division I and not seeing the field. Right. So for me, I tell my guys and I tell my parents, my goal is to open up doors and give your young man an opportunity. The one thing I don't push is colleges for everybody, because unfortunately we know that may not be the case. Everybody's circumstances and everybody learns differently. I have some young men, 2 in particular, that will be finishing up. They don't want to go to college. They say, I want to get into trades. And the last thing I'm going to do is say, no, don't do that. You need to go to school. So my thing is keep your options open. But if you want to get into trades, then here, I'm going to give you a list of opportunities that you can sign up for so that you can be a productive citizen and that you can be successful in life. And if you want to get back into coaching, I'll help you with that as well. But it's just about creating opportunities for guys that unfortunately wouldn't have gotten had they not been at the road. That's just what it is. So I believe that, through my years of playing and coaching, I've created enough relationships with coaches that's in the area at the college level that will take my word on a young man's character and the playing ability, that all my guys that want to go to college that's graduating this year will be in college. That's just without a doubt. They put themselves in positions academically and athletically to be able to get to that point. And that's one thing I'm proud of. And the guys that like Nas and Kaya, these are 4.0, 4.3 GPA kids. You know, I've known Nas since he was a little youngster, playing for the Hurricanes. And, you know, this young man has always been the focused, driven athlete, and definitely in the classroom, come from great parents. Just the kid can do whatever he wants to do. You know, we find out after the season, the young man basically was playing with a dang near torn ACL. And it's like, my man, you had 20-some tackles against May and well. But, you know, he was that kind of dude. And, you know, I'm definitely going to miss that young man. I'm going to miss all my seniors.
Yep.
We've had some good times over these years, but it's definitely next man up. And I got some young boys that's looking to show everybody what they can do.
Absolutely, Coach. And thank you so much for coming on Real Deal Sports Show. And definitely, I tell you what, you got a lot of memories that nothing can be taken away from you guys. So you got a lot of history. I'm sure these guys, when they get older, will come back to the program, be able to talk to the kids there 5 to maybe even 10 years down the road of what it was like and how that continued to bring this type of successful program here in the Rochester, New York area. Congratulations to yourself and your entire team. And also Jason Muhammad. I remember when he was a hell of a head coach over there at Marshall High School with Austin. He had Ashton Broad. You told him I said hello. The Red Man says hello to him because I used to interview him and Ashton. That Marshall team was a dominant team back at that time. It seemed like only yesterday, but man, the years do go by. And
hey, hold on, because you know Ashton was elite. Ashton was great, but 06, my senior year at the team, I was the captain. Or we the one that won sectionals.
See that? And which game was that?
That was the 06 team. We're the ones that went to the state semifinals in 2006, 2007. My senior year, I was the captain on that team.
Talk that talk, Coach. Let them know what it is.
So it's but Ashton, in my opinion, that kid's probably the toughest athlete to come through the area. Section 5, definitely still a good friend to this day. But they didn't get as far as we did in 06. We tried to set the tone for them. But he ended up getting the state championship later on in his career. But as far as Marshall go, I believe that 06 team that we went the furthest.
Well, thank you so much for letting me know, man. Because I probably could have followed you, interviewed you, and didn't even know it. Because I know I followed that team as interviewed and for that coach Jason Muhammad at that time period. So congratulations on that 06, and we're going to have you back on again next year, definitely. To let us know what's going on over there at Marshall. One of Rochester's best kept secrets.
Absolutely, thank you.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
All right, and remember, if keep in mind, Image Printer, Marketing and Publishing Company, 585-360-0132. Make sure if you need anything done, print-wise, flyer-wise, banners. If you need those banners, a grand opening or something big about to happen, check out my man, friend of the show, Manuel Floyd, another sponsor. Check him out, 360-0132. If you'd like to be a sponsor, especially when we're on Radio Row in Las Vegas, Nevada, coming up the week of February 4th to February 9th, we'll be coming to your speakers live from the Las Vegas Convention Center. Live. And if you want to be a sponsor, just give a call, area code 585-766-3590. We'd be glad to tell you about the opportunities to be an advertiser on Real Deal Sports Show, especially for the week in Las Vegas, Nevada, guys. We're going to get ready, getting packed, get the suitcases ready, because we heading to Vegas, and we're going to see which 2 NFL teams are going to join us. And starting later this afternoon, we're going to start figuring out who are some of them, who are the pretenders and who's for real, who's going to make the playoffs. Fanatic, who's some of your picks for this week?
You know it. Hey, and just before we go to that, I just want to make sure we stop and take a moment. Shout out to Rochester. We always see the negative stuff. Absolutely. Look what they're doing. Look what happened even back in 06 with those Marshall teams, those great teams. But look at Monroe High School, elite. I don't think we talk about it enough. So I'm glad we always, and people we are, as we know, we are not going to tell you what we heard. We're going to tell you what we know. So shout out to Rochester. A lot more positive stuff going on than what nationally or what in the greater city is being talked about. Great stuff. Shout out to Monroe High School. But yeah, Brad, man, you know what time it is. It's time to win the folks some money. To me, some of my best picks, Hey, man, I like in the game tonight. That to me could be the best game of the weekend. CJ Stroud back ready to go indoors at Indianapolis Division 4. I like the over 47 in that game. I think it's going to be some scoring going on with that. Again, shout out to our friend of the show. His parking spot is always here. AD from at Max Corner. He talked about Tank Dell. Houston, man, what a great season they're having. Now it all rides to this. Gardner Minshew has played great, and Michael Pittman Jr. should be back. I like the scoring over 47, and I like New England. New England, they may stink, and they will continue to stink, but I think they got one more win in them when they play and host the New York Jets. It seems like it might be Bill Belichick's last game. He's not going to go out losing to the Jets. So I like New England -2, and I like the Raiders. My man Antonio Pierce killing it, doing his thing for the Raiders. Got the Raiders playing hard. Denver, who knows what's going on there? I can't wait to talk to Chris Manhurst, another friend of the show, to hear what's going on. I don't know what it is about our man Chris Manhurst. He always got some wildness going on, man. And last year it was Urban Meyer and that buffoonery. Now he got to deal with Sean Payton, his man, and Russell Wilson. So excited to talk to him about what's going on. But I do like the Raiders -2 at home against the Denver Broncos. J-GILLZ, who you like it?
Man, you know, I know what y'all think. I know what y'all think I'm gonna say. But you know what? I'm gonna go to the other polarizing team, and Backspin might like this, but I'm definitely rolling with the Cowboys to clinch that NFC title. It's been a long time since a team has won back-to-back. So within the NFC East, and I think right now the Dallas Cowboys are shooting for that home team. Controversial win over Detroit, so they'll also have the 2 seed. So I think that this is going to be a big game. I'm definitely taking the Cowboys -13, even though it's on the road. And we all know how they struggle on the road. But I think Mike McCarthy is going to close the season off right and get that done.
I agree with you. I think Washington's running for the bus. Ron Rivera, everybody. Eric Bieniemy, they might be getting on separate buses, man. That's how bad it is there in Washington to see where Eric Bieniemy may end up. Will he be a consultant to the Kansas City Chiefs during the playoffs? That's a rumor that's out there. They need him desperately back there in KC. So what's going to happen there? Later today, I like the Ravens with the 4. I think Huntley's a good enough quarterback, and the talent that the Ravens have put on the field, they got a nice slew of talent, good backups, good starters. Everybody can't sit out this game today. I think they're going to take Baltimore with the 3.5 or 4 points. Take Baltimore because the Steelers. Remember, the Steelers are terrible when against the spread. But when the Steelers get the points, you take the Steelers. The Ravens getting the points, take the Ravens plus the 4. I like Huntley starting, and I think Huntley can get it done for them later today. And then the night game, I like Houston taking that over Indy, and I do like that over. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a high scoring game. I think Houston is a little bit better than the Colts right now. I think Houston will take that game. And then going into Sunday's games, I like, of course, Buffalo in the late game. Josh Allen just seems to always have a good game against the Miami Dolphins. And I think the Bills defense with Micah Hyde being able to call, whenever Micah Hyde is out there making the calls in the secondary, disguising the defense, you ever notice how much better that defense looks and plays with Micah Hyde on the field? And Micah Hyde is due to be on the field tomorrow night. I hope they can get him off the field for a little bit, give him a blow, because that stinger and neck he's not 100%, but he's a guy, he's a signal caller, he's a tough cookie, he's out there making it happen. DaQuan Jones came back last week. Eric Washington said in the press conferences that it was like DaQuan Jones never left, but he's been out 11 games. Obviously, they've coming up with new procedures for that, to help heal those torn pec muscles, and it's getting a lot better. He's coming back. He came back last week, looked really good. Take the Bills in that game. Also, I like the Chicago getting 3. Ever since Montez Sweat got to Chicago, we've been seeing Tremaine Edmonds make big play after big play. Man, it's amazing when you get a guy in front of you that can play and can take up 2 men. Man, Tremaine Edmonds is looking like he did back in his Buffalo days. He's doing well. That defense is playing stout. I look for Chicago to pull the upset in Green Bay because Green Bay really isn't that good. They're a year or two away with the talent level they have. I think that Chicago will win that one as well. And I do like the New England -2. Atlanta, New Orleans, that's a crapshoot. That's a battle. Every time I take Atlanta, They blow up every time I take the
Stay
Saints.
away, Rab, man. Stay away. Don't play that game, Rabbit.
I'm
Don't
not
do
even
it.
gonna pick it. That's right. I'm gonna save my money, save your money, fans. I'm not even gonna pick one on that game. Last but not least, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a must-win for them. I think they'll blow out Carolina, finish off the season. And Tepper, who you gonna throw a drink on this week? Let's see. Come on. You should be barred from the stadium, man. You can't act like how you an owner. You throwing drinks on people. You're supposed to have your security go down there and handle the situation, not you out here. And then you throw the drink and then you run. Oh man, get out of here, man. People ready to climb up into the suite, man. Dude was climbing up into the suite, man.
It was like he was Spider-Man, or he about to look like Jimmy Fly Snooker getting into the cage, or Roman Reigns, or something. Or somebody.
Yeah, he's ready to lay some hands, and it wasn't gonna be some good hands on
it was gonna be some furniture moving, Rad, man. It was some good furniture moving.
And those are my key picks. And last but then, who is this Monseus Bolanos? Who is this woman? Who she got the nerve? She like a real quarterback-y. And Lamar Jackson doesn't fit the role of a quarterback-y. Who the hell is a quarterback-y, lady? And she said, when I give him the eyeball test, he doesn't look like a quarterback. Then she turns around and she mentions Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady look like a quarterback. What are you saying, lady? A black man can't be a quarterback in today's NFL? What's a
you know what she was saying?
You know exactly what she was saying.
What kind of cold backspin? What kind of cold word was she using?
Now, you know what I mean? It's covert. You know what I'm saying? The language that she's using. So you just got to read between the lines and call her out on it, and let that be that. That's all. Just like when they told LeBron to shut up and dribble. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, because that was a sure dog whistle. I think every puppy, any dog, even your dog, Jalen, when they heard her say that, every dog turned around in America to look to see where that sound was coming from. Because that was a serious dog whistle right there. And shame on you, miss, for showing your racist comments like that, lady. That was just disgraceful.
Terrible.
No doubt, man. Rad man, appreciate you. J-GILLZ Fanatic, Real Deal Sports Show, talking sports of all sorts every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. right here on the Beat 105.5. We're going to check in with you guys next week. Y'all have a great last day or weekend of pro NFL football for the regular season, man. It's a sad day.
But it ain't over for us. It ain't over for us, Baxter. Dolphins clinched.
That's right. It ain't
Cowboys clinched. We got another week.
We gotta look forward to that, man.
And Baxman, if you get an opportunity to put on some Jeffrey Osborne and salute to my mom's birthday coming up on January 11th, that something from the LTD days. She loved Jeffrey Osborne, man. That was her guy. That was her go-to guy.
I will make sure I do that for you, Rad, man. Not a problem, my brother. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
The world's greatest backspin. Appreciate you, backspin.
Likewise, fellas. See y'all next week, man.
Hey.
Keep it where you need it, Rock City. Y'all know what it is. The Back in Time Mix Show is on deck right here on the Beat 105.5.